Hi, this is Steve Harper from yourcreativelife.com, talking this week about the writer's room. 5 things to know about what a TV writer's room is really like. I was talking about this on Twitter, and I thought I would bring it to you in YouTube video form. So here are 5 things to know about being in a writer's room. These are things that are great to know just as facts, but also are really useful to know if you're about to go into a writer's room for the first time. And I also think they're good refreshers for anybody who's been in a writer's room. Number 1 is collaboration is key. It's super important to recognize that unlike your own process when you're writing at home or wherever you write, this is a space that is additive. This is about a safe space where people can throw in ideas, and where ideas, whether they're good or not so good, can build on other ideas. And so there's a spirit and energy of collaboration. There's the idea and the flow of yes, and I'm going to take that idea, yes, and I'm going to add a little bit to it. And I've actually heard someone say that if you're looking for the good ideas in a writer's room, you need to build those on a mountain of bad ideas. So in the space of collaboration, and sort of like charades, it's important to be peppering the room, the space, with all sorts of ideas in the space of collaboration, recognizing that it's all about building something together, and that the sense really is that we're rowing in the same direction and helping each other sculpt brand new ideas. Number 2 is be flexible as you build a story. Again, when you're writing by yourself, you get to decide. You might say, hey, I love to start with character, or I love to start with a log line, or I love to start with an image, or I love to start with the last scene or the conflict, or whatever it is for you. But recognize that when you're in a writer's room with other people, it's really about the person who's leading the room, who's perhaps developing the story, who's going to write that script, and or the showrunners deciding how they want to build the story. They might want to start with character when you normally start with plot. They might want to start with action when you normally start with emotion. Whatever it is, recognize that you need to be flexible when you're in that process of building story with those people, and not be a person who says, oh, no, 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 I will only build story if we start this way, right? It's about bobbing and weaving and being flexible enough to contribute to the group wherever they are, led by whoever you're following, and being willing to be flexible in that space with your methodology and your style. Number 3 is that the showrunner is king or queen. That is the person who is deciding which way you go. And there's a very simple reason for that. Because if you go back to the origin of every TV show, the studio and network and all of the partners, the producers, are basically purchased or purchasing the energy of a particular story filtered through a particular writer. So that writer, that showrunner, is the person who all of those people fell in love with first. They like that person's voice and vision and energy and style. And so that person is the one who gets to make all of the decisions, all of the key decisions, gets to be the decider, the tiebreaker, the designator of which direction you'll go toward and which thing you'll pursue next. And just know that, again, as opposed to writing by yourself, there is a showrunner, and he or she is king in the space of the writer's room. And it's all about supporting that person's vision, because that's the vision that the studio and network want you to support. And that's what you're really there to do. Number 4 is to speak in possibilities in the writer's room. The writer's room is not a space to say, no, 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 the only thing we can do is this, or it must be this, or no, no, it's got to be X or Y, right? So in the space of the writer's room, when you're making suggestions, pitches, story ideas, use phrases like this. There's a version where blah, blah, blah happens. It's a possibility that such and such, or it might be helpful if blah, blah, blah. And all of those things speak to the sense of possibility, the idea that the showrunner could decide, yes, let's go down this one road, but that there are no absolutes. And telling your boss that there's an absolute is never a way to play the collaborative game. So always speak in possibilities as you pitch ideas in the room. Also, try to be additive too, which goes back to that whole thing about collaboration. You don't want to knock down ideas. You might say, this idea might be more useful if blah, 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 or I'm curious about such and such. But you don't want to be a person in a room who says, no, that's bad. Oh, that's terrible. That's not collaborative, and that's not playing well with others. And you really need to figure out what your mojo is for telling stories that you think might be good without tearing down other people. And that also leads to number 5, which is let go of ego. Being in the writer's room is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being one of the smart people in the room. And so as long as you're willing to row in the direction that your showrunners are going toward, and know that it's not a competition, it's not about trying to be the best person, not trying to win the day. That's not what it's about. It's about letting go of ego and being one of the smart people in the room and being willing to be part of that collaborative soup. So those 5 things that I think are really important to remember about the writer's room are: 1, collaboration is key; 2, be flexible as you build story; 3, the showrunner is king or queen; 4, speak in possibilities; and 5, let go of ego. I think all of those will hold you in good stead for studying the writer's room, entering a writer's room, or maintaining your mojo in whatever writer's room you find yourself to be in. I encourage you to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and check out all of the many videos here that are all about writing and the writing life. I also encourage you to go to my website at yourcreativelife.com and check out all of the resources there, both for coaching of writers who are interested in dramatic scripts. There's a link to this YouTube page. There's a link to my blog, which is the text of my newsletter. And the newsletter comes out every month and is emailed directly to subscribers. So if you like the sample that's there in the blog section, you can subscribe to my newsletter and get that once a month with juicy writer tips. And finally, I really encourage you to check out the new podcast, the Secret Writer Podcast, which I'm doing with my friend Nick Job, who is both a writer and a writing coach. We've been having a terrific time talking about the writing life, and we jokingly call it therapy for writers. So it's really about the psychology or the mojo behind the scenes of our writing lives and the kinds of things that we think will help you in your writing life. You can find that on any podcasting platform, Apple Podcasts and otherwise. And I encourage you to find it, listen, like, and subscribe. So take all this information and hold it close to your writer's beating heart. I hope it's useful to you, and I'll see you next time.